Bonjour everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV and welcome to another transfer video. And it's just like the Carriers one last week. You thought they were over. Hey, just reporting the news, right? Just reporting the news, and it is some big news. Alright, you've got to report it because it is big. And it's a big statement from Newcastle, and it's a big sign of the times to come of what Newcastle United are doing. Not just trying to bring in big names, but big prospects, big wonder kids, the young talents across the globe. And that is Garang Kuol. Garang Kuol, the 17-year-old Egyptian-born Australian citizen, Garang Kuol, who plays out there in the A-League for Central Coast Mariners. Now, he's just 17 years old, and I'd be lying to your faces if I knew who he was, right? I've had to do a lot of research on him this afternoon because I've never heard of him before, right? We're seeing the links in the reports. There's various reports this morning being linked with Garang Kuol to Newcastle, but I'd never ever heard of him. I'm not going to lie, you see him pretend to be like, oh, I knew all about him. He looks amazing, class. Been watching him for ages. Seen him when he was 14. Always seen him on FIFA. Do you know what I mean? Is the A-League even on FIFA? I think it is. But you know what I mean? I'm not gonna give you a load of bollocks and pretend I know who I am. I do now know about him because I've been reading about him all morning. Well, not all morning. Spent about a good half an hour of it. But you know what I mean? This is what came out of the various reports this morning. We'll run through that and we'll run through more about who he is, his playing style and all that sort of stuff. Right then, before we really dive into Garang Kuol, I want to talk about Football Prizes, who are again sponsoring this video. Now look at this on your screen right now, right? Just a couple of quid to win a Captain Trips signed shirt. Yeah, look at that. This season's kit as well, the blue and gold one. It's a nice one. It's Trippier on the back of it. There's other prizes included. Link is in the description to have a chance of winning that. But he was unveiled yesterday in the Socceroos squad for the upcoming qualifiers that they've got. And then now it's came out that he's going to be joining Newcastle United. It's a big, big moment for him. Obviously, 17-year-old getting into the Australian national side, which we actually need him to play for Australia first if we're going to send him, because he hasn't got a work permit. He's only 17. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't even come over here and work at McDonald's if he wanted to. Nothing wrong with that. But he couldn't even do that if he wanted to. He would need him to play for Australia, get his work permit, then we can sign him on a 4-year deal for £25,000 a week. Wow. I mean, he's probably on about $2,500 Australian dollars a week at the minute, which equates to about £1,000 a week max. That's about a month is what he's on there. Do you know what I mean? The Australian wages are good, you know what I mean, but the lifestyle is more expensive in it, but that'll be a massive boost for him, a massive turn up in fortune for him in terms of his wages going right up. I mean, 25 grand a week at 17 years old. Ho, that is dangerous. He's going to have to be supervised at all times in Newcastle because there's going to be a lot of temptations for him. I mean, he'll be in Tub and other nightclubs are available. He'll be in these type of places all the time. You know what I mean? He'll spend his money on all the balls, quayside and everything. It's not supervised. We're going to have to look after the kid because there's a lot of ways you could spend 25 grand a week and it wouldn't last long if you wanted to do in Newcastle. I mean, hopefully his family are coming over. Brother, hopefully he's already got a girlfriend. You know what I mean? There's going to be lots of distractions for young Kuol. So, 25 grand a week. Now that's a lot. And that is, first of all, that's just mental that we're offering 17-year-olds £25,000 a week. Half of our squad isn't on 25 grand a week because half of our team have been on pennies from the previous ownership. Do you know what I mean? There's lads there that have been knocking around 25, 26, 30 years old that weren't on 25 grand a week. So, I mean, when St. Maximin first signed, he wasn't even on that much. That tells you all you need to know, even though he was young. The talent that he is. Newcastle's wage bill at the minute, obviously they've been very careful. That's why they didn't end up signing Tielemans on deadline day. They didn't want to break the bank for his wages. Other players, they've tried to keep a cap on it. Obviously, Isaacs came in. When we're saying Kuol, and then in the future, obviously, once we get new revenue deals and new shirt sponsorship next season, is when we'll be able to off bigger wages. But this contract has yet to be signed amongst interest from several other European clubs, so there's no doubt going to be a lot of competition for Garang Kuol, and that's why I'm saying it's a big statement for Newcastle. If we can coup one of these hottest young prospects across the world, you know what I mean, the next big thing, if we can get him, then that shows where we're going and shows our intent. You know what I mean? Because you'd expect him to maybe go to a Barcelona or a Manchester United or Chelsea where he's got links. I think his agent is the agent of Aubameyang, who's obviously just went to Chelsea. So, and then even in Germany, Borussia Dortmund, how good are they at building up young talent? You know what I mean, like Jude Bellingham. So you'd think, and you'll know, that there'll be a lot of European clubs after him. Probably teams in Europe, in terms of obviously Europa League and Champions League and stuff. So he's going to have options on the table. So we'll see. But apparently these reports are saying that he will be signing for Newcastle as the deal is ratified over the next week. The deal is that he will remain in Australia for Central Coast Mariners. Now that sounds like a fucking Sunday League team down here, doesn't it? Central Coast Mariners. Sounds like a pub team, the Mariners. Yeah, he'll be on a de facto farewell A-League tour in January when he will depart for Tyneside to be immediately loaned out to a club on the continent. So he won't be coming in we won't be signing him in the next week if it's announced or whatever, and then he's not going to come in January and then start playing against Arsenal away on the 2nd of January. You know what I mean? He's going to be going back out on loan. He's one for the future. It might not take long. Look at, he might come back when he's probably 19. You know what I mean? He might be away for a year, 18 months, something like that, and then come back and be a star for Newcastle. So Kuol, who actually does turn 18 this week, so the 17-year-old slogan only lasts for a couple of days, so he's 18 on Thursday, so he will be able to have a pint with all that money that he'll be on in Newcastle, but not too many, like I've said, supervised. As I mentioned, he's expected to make his debut for the Socceroos, Australian, not American, against New Zealand this week. They've got home and away matches against them. Now, it doesn't actually state what the fee will be for Garang Kuol, but they're saying it's going to be modest, so it's going to be small, probably a few $100,000, maybe $1 million, $2 million tops. But the thing that club will really benefit from is probably add-ons. So when Kuol makes X amount of Premier League appearances, Australian appearances, for his country, for his national side, for in Europe or whatever, reaches a certain amount of goals, then they'll start probably raking in the extra millions if his potential does hit the heights that is hopefully expected of him. And then obviously if we did end up selling Kuol, you know, then say we sold him. See, the thing for me is like this can't go wrong really. Yeah, the wages is a bit high for someone so young, but if he does well, amazing, we're saying one of the best young talents. Then we keep him for forever, for so many years, 10 years, he becomes a star here, a legend, you might want to move on. We end up selling him in the future for $100 million to Barcelona, mint. Or it doesn't work out, we've only paid a couple million for him, taking into account wages as well, say a few million tops. You could easily sell him for $6 million to a championship team, you know, a few million here, a few million there. It's worth a hit. It's worth a hit, and obviously this lad's a big talent. You know, he's got scouts all over the world watching him for the top European clubs. He's impressed so far, not just in the A-League where it's really shined for him. That's the only thing I've really seen of him, because after looking about him this morning and watching highlights, I really looked into the game that he played against Barcelona. So the Australian League have like an all-star game where their best players from that league played Barcelona not so long ago, and the Barcelona fans and the Barcelona press were like, wow, this kid's amazing. Who's this kid? Who's this guy? What a talent he is. He was running the show. You see the clips, they're on YouTube, you see the clips, he picks up the ball in his own half, takes on 3 or 4 players, gets into the box. You know, he's having shots, he hits the ball on one of the clips. I'm not sure if he scored or not, but he hits the ball, he puts one just wide. Dazzling runs, really attacking, really direct, causing an absolute nightmare for Barcelona. And look how good Barcelona are again now, you know, he was a real handful. He was so pacey, so full of skills and trickery, and he just needs to hone that end product a little bit, but he was unlucky, to be fair. But he was a huge shining star in that game, and Xavi, obviously ex-Barcelona player, current manager, said he was immense, said he was amazing, and like I say, the Barcelona press were like, he's the next Messi. They were saying he's the next Messi. Who's this guy? The next Messi. The Egyptian Messi, not Mo Salah. Kuol, the Australian Messi, same thing. Egyptian-born, Australian citizen. So yeah, Kuol, really impressed over there. That's why I think, oh God, so surely Barcelona will snap him up or someone else will want him now, but he couldn't have got bigger praise from them. So if he's good enough to play against Barcelona, he's good enough to be playing against bloody Bournemouth and teams like that, right? Get him in. So it's been a massive, sudden rise for Kuol, really. He scored 4 goals in just 189 minutes of A-League action off the bench, and obviously getting a call up to the Australian national side. You know, there's a lot of buzz and a lot of hype around this lad already, so that's why we're trying to secure his services early. If he starts performing on the national stage for Australia, continues to make a glowing reference when they play teams like Barcelona, they play in the A-League, and you know, the scouts obviously do go all around the world. I joked about the A-League earlier, but you know, you will see scouts from all these top clubs go to Australia, Canada, America, everywhere across the globe, you know, Africa, everywhere. That's how the top talents get found, like Drogba back in the day, you know. So there's a lot to be done, and there's a lot of promise around this lad. Now, Newcastle did have a couple of Aussies in the past, James Troisy and Curtis Good. Good times. But it'd be nice to get him in. Do you know what I mean? Again, how good would this be for marketing as well? In terms of bringing an Australian in, and we get signed the next biggest Australian player. Newcastle have already got loads of Australian supporters. I I see a lot of you in the comments, I see a lot of you on the analytics, and my brother who lives and works out in Australia, he knows a lot of people out there who watch the channel and stuff, so shout out to all them. But again, that just glorifies that and magnifies that even more, where instead of Australians supporting Arsenal and Manchester United, whoever, be Newcastle, they'll be supporting Gool, whatever his name was. They'll be getting him on the back of the shirt. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Exciting times, and I like this about Newcastle. We're not just going out there to splash the cash and sign the big names. We're looking at the young lads as well. We're looking to bring in the next big stars, and that'll be massively down to Dan Ashworth, to be fair. He did that at Brighton. Look, he brought in Cucurella from the middle of nowhere. Now he's went on for 50 million to Chelsea. Caicedo in midfield, who replaced Basuma, who he also signed. That Caicedo, who he signed from Mexico for about £2.50. He's amazing, and he's linked with a big money move. So Dan Ashworth doing bits. Hopefully we can get this sealed and signed. So Garang Kuol, the 17-year-old wonder kid, about to turn 18 on Thursday, is set to sign for Newcastle United on £25,000 a week. Be a long-term deal, loan back out, one for the future. Bags of potential, a new kid on the block, a rising star of football. Let us know what you think of that one in the comments below. Have you ever heard of him? I bet you're looking at him right now if you haven't already. Are you excited by that? It's a good business from Newcastle. Drop your comments below. Subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV and enjoy yourself.